Good afternoon. Hope the lunch was good, and hope we've had a few sessions where, it's kicked in already. Very fortunate to have Manohar Chatlani, MD of Soch. How many in this room have heard of Manu? Okay, and now how many in this room actually have heard of Soch, the brand? Okay, there we go. So Anish, you were right. If you don't know the gentleman, you at least know the brand. Almost everybody does. Manu, thank you for being here with us today. And, we'd like to get a very informal but still an informative conversation with you today. We have limited time, so, whatever you want to speak.
Thank you. Thank you for this honor. Thank you for having me here. I hope I'll be able to say something which is useful to people over here. I think I'm easily the oldest person in this room. 73. Anybody older than me?
73 years and
73
anybody
years.
older?
No. Okay. So
Yeah,
that prize comes to me.
Yeah, but I think it's the exuberance he carries. So I'm going to wind him down memory lane. Manu, you did not decide to take retail as a profession of choice. You kind of almost stumbled into it. We know your journey goes back years and years, and probably more than 50 now, since you started retail? Yeah, okay. So I think for the audience, if you can tell us, in your earliest days of retail, what is one or two strong learnings? You've learned under so many people.
So I sort of grew into retail. The ground floor and the first floor was our store. Second floor, third floor was our house. So after school, after the 9th standard, I was in the shop every day till we closed. On Sundays, the store used to be closed, but we used to open it in the morning and play cricket on Commercial Street. Cricket on Commercial Street on Sundays. Those were the days. And sometimes a customer would come and we'd attend the customer and continue the game. So I was sort of born into this when I was a kid. 90% of kids went into their father's business. I think today is probably 10% of the kids get into their parents' business. I didn't have that much of choice. There was not much of opportunity at that time.
Any takeaways from those early days where retail was very different from what it is today? I know you've also spent time with some very iconic bands in Bombay, etc. I'm sure you learned a lot there.
Yeah, so my first guru in retail was Arjun Daswani, who owned a shop called Charag Din. It was one of the most famous shops during that time. And during the 70s, they used to sell about 1,200 shirts a day from that one shop in Woodhouse Road off Kolaba. I think the second highest store in India which would sell shirts would probably be selling maybe 100 or 120 a day. And this man used to sell 1,200. He was my guru, and he taught me how to track what is selling, what is not selling. This is long, long before computers. Actually, long before even calculators came. So we used to write down everything, and we used to see what size is selling, what color is selling, what brands are selling, and we learned to operate our retail on data.
So yeah, this is like data analytics before even calculators came in. Manu, in that long journey, you've been a retailer, you've run multi-brand outlets, etc. At one point in your life, you decided to create your own brand, and that's where Soch was born, right? So there are upsides and downsides to creating a brand vis-a-vis, selling for other brands. Can you share with us one challenge that you thought you would have if you go in for a brand, and one big reason why you still went in for it?
So why did we start this brand called Soch? My wife's name is Shobha Chatlani. So she used to make kurtis under the name of Soch. And we wanted to get into malls. We were running a store called Favorite Shop, multi-brand outlet. No mall wanted a multi-brand outlet, not very upmarket, into the mall. So to get into malls, we needed to have a brand. So we started this brand called Soch, and the first store which we opened was in the Forum Mall in Bangalore. That was a runaway success. 2005, 2008 was the second, 2009 was the third, and from then onward, we started growing rapidly. And the reason we went into brands from multi-brand, simply because we wanted to get into malls. And of course, there are lots of learnings, lots of challenges, lots of differences between the way you buy, the way you plan for a brand as compared to a multi-brand outlet. One of the earliest learnings I had was, one of my uncles told me, if you don't earn while buying, you will never earn while selling. So you have to buy very, very tight. If you pay more while buying, you cannot make money. Okay, you asked what are the differences between a brand and MBO. One of the most difficult challenges in a brand is you have to buy 3 to 4 months in advance, especially at the scale at which we are. If you have an MBO, you sell 100 salwar kameez in this month, you just go to Bombay and pick up 100, you sell whatever you sell, everything is readily available, you just go and buy. But when you're a brand, you plan 3 months in advance. And that planning can very often go wrong. Fabrics are not delivered on time, sometimes the fabric is not up to quality, sometimes your supplier is delayed, some problem with him. Sometimes you have, very often you run out of stock simply because of some delay or the other. You have to predict 3 to 4 months in advance. By the time your goods come, it could be that fashion has changed a slight bit. Some of the fast fashion which comes in because of Bollywood movies release, you miss out on that because you just can't pick up off the shelf and you plan 3 to 4 months in advance. And as you grow, everything changes. The way you buy, the way you do your HR, the way you plan, the way you do your merchandising, advertising, everything changes. What makes you successful as a single multi-brand store is very different from what makes you successful as a brand. There's a very famous book, what got you here will not get you there. It's exactly like that. You will have to learn everything and you have to relearn everything.
One quick insight on what really defines Soch, or what is it about the brand Soch that you've managed to meet so much success and you're growing continuously? I mean, I personally know your growth story, but is it the brand? Is it the product? Is it the pricing? And please don't tell me it's all of these, right? So let's pick up one. Let's pick up one that sets Soch apart.
I think the one thing is destiny. We got that store in Forum Mall quite accidentally, and after that we just took off. For any multi-brand outlet to even get a store in a mall is like sort of unheard of, except now that large multi-brand outlets are getting into malls. In those days, you didn't have a chance. We just got that store accidentally, that took off. Second store happened to take off, third. It's destiny, of course, a lot of hard work, planning, marketing. My son Vinay did the marketing campaign, and I think he did quite a brilliant job of it. Yeah. At one time, we used to have about 150 hoardings across Bangalore. I think the next highest probably would have 10 hoardings. So everywhere you would go in Bangalore, you'd see Soch. That sort of made us very popular. Even with people who came from different cities, they visited Bangalore, they saw so many hoardings of Soch, and we got a lot of franchises because of that. I think it was that break we had in Forum, plus the marketing, of course, quality, pricing, all those things do matter.
So yeah, I think if I were to answer that question on behalf of Soch, I would say the same thing. I think the attention and focus that Soch pays on branding and marketing is really what gets that appeal all the time. Like we saw, 100% of the people saw it. One last question, I know you're pointing at the clock.
Yeah.
We want to hear the human side of Manu. I know a lot about you, but the audience would like to really, I know he does a lot of philanthropy. And we won't get into the details of what he does, but probably if you can shed light on how, amongst everything else that you do at work, how do you find that time for philanthropy and what drives you for that?
Uh, Very difficult to answer that in such a short time. But in a nutshell, I believe that if you call me 100 times for a dinner, I need to call you at least 2 or 3 times. So I believe the money, the contacts, the number of years, the time, the capability, what he has given to me, I should repay a part of it. And that's exactly what I do. 85% of my time is spent on business. I give a little time to my charity work. And I think if I don't do that, what sort of a human being I am? 100 times he's called me. I don't even invite him 2 or 3 times for dinner. Yes, it is my passion. And a lot of time people ask me, how do you get the time after running 175 stores? How do you give time to charity? I always think of time as a refrigerator. You have a 1,000-liter refrigerator. You have choice, mango juice, pineapple juice, Coke, Fanta, meat, vegetables, ice cream. There are so many things you want to put in that refrigerator. Like that, you have your 24 hours. Everybody has 24 hours. You decide what you want to do with it. You can't say, I don't have space for Coke. Remove the mango, put Coke. You don't have space for ice cream. Remove the meat, put ice cream. So if you want to do something good, you can always find the time. And most people who say we don't have time spend 3 hours on WhatsApp.
Manu, with that, thank you so much. I hope we've learned something. But Manu, before you go, can I have that slide up, please? Manu, before you go, I'd like you are the best person for me to actually do this. Sorry, I'm losing the clicker. At BI Retail, we are launching a new thing. People who know BI Retail already do. But there's a new initiative coming in. I wanted Manu to actually click the button and launch that. So BI Retail is launching a podcast starting soon in collaboration with the Images Group. The podcast is called Retail and AI. I think we all understand retail. I think ChatGPT has made AI very consumer-centric. Everybody knows that they need to do something, but very few people know really what to do to drive ROI out of it. So I've been fortunate. I've been at this cusp and intersection of technology and business, and I just decided to put my foot forward and say, I want to give this back to the industry. We are planning to drop the first podcast starting March, and then hopefully at least at a frequency of 1 per week. So I want to take Manu's help here I didn't know how to launch a podcast. It's about audio. So I'll ask Manu to click the green button and just launch the signature tune for the podcast for us today. Yes, please. Thank you.